Hey guys, welcome back to Fusion Weaver. It's the patch notes 1.12.0. It's a fairly light patch, but it does contain some interesting changes, mostly backend though. The changes concern mostly the spawners. The spawners now have restrictions when they're actually spawning. The changes take place at runtime. Well, by at runtime, I mean, of course, at map start. Usually, the spawners were like randomizing items into something that a player class could use, spawned, and then it left it. It actually created new items in a loop until something was found, which caused some issues, rarely, for maps that had some action specials tied to the items. For example, there's a map where an armor in place was upon picking up the armor, two monsters spawned and they attacked the player. Due to those random spawning shenanigans that I had earlier, it was simply not functional because the armor was replaced by something completely different and not related. And now the spawners are randomizing the things that are legal for the game at runtime, which is easily seen on the map 30. All the items are immediately spawned, the only ones that I can use. Let's do it again. They are still randomized the same way as they used to. However, it's simply randomized on game launch, on map launch. Furthermore, this spawner system also affects monsters. What does it really mean? It means that monsters will not spawn when they can't move. This is noticeable for the map 8, Tricks and Traps. Here, only Cacos spawn now, because all the other monsters are simply too large to fit, and it used to be like, for example, a Turn Wraith could spawn there, and it was too fat to move even. And now, only the monsters that can fit. This is also important for the cases of monsters like Mancubi or the Archnetrons in map 7. I couldn't really replace them with safely. I did have a few monsters that were fairly reliable, but I couldn't really replace them because of not really replace. I couldn't really check if they are too big and replace it with another monster with the old system that I've had for Dark Templars and the Knights, that simply replaced the monster, more like spawned a new monster in place of that monster. And yes, that's the big change, the spawner change. It also has a sorry, wrong button. Okay, like I was saying, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, the change also. Oh yeah, I know what I'm saying. There's also a few more things in this spawner that can do. No, I can't remember what this is. Nevertheless, this is one of the major changes. It will still be expanded upon. For example, I will be adding a level list spawner. It's mostly like for Zasha. She has her items that are leveled. Like you need to have level, I don't remember, level 11 to get tier 3 items. And this I will be able to make with a single spawner. And yes, I recall what I was talking about. The spawner system also has a safety mechanism of a fallback actor, which means that if nothing that was randomized from the list fits the bill, can be spawned. For example, all the monsters are too big, or no player class can pick up the items of the spawner. The fallback actor, if present, will simply force the spawn of that actor, that thing, if nothing fits. An example for that: Zasha has, instead of the health bonuses or armor bonuses, was it? I think it's armor bonuses. Has simply coins, which was actually a requested feature. And the other case is for Nova. It was already here, but it's now with a better system. The minerals are spawned in place of a chainsaw. For monsters, I generally input the fallback actor always, the one that's the base monster. Out of a simple reason: even in the original Doom maps, there are sometimes monsters that are spawning in walls, and if it wasn't there, it would simply not spawn anything, and I'd rather have a poorly placed monster than no monster at all. Okay, yes, this is the biggest part, the spawners. Oh, and one more thing about that fallback actor: if there's no fallback actor, it will simply choose any object that's out of the list, and don't care much more. Okay, continuing on. The armor system has been a bit more reworked. Let me just get some armor. Let me get Buddha. Is the better cheat now. Let me just get the throw. The armor system seems the same. You pick up the armor, you get the armor and the normal message. However, all the things that I've used to have, like the armor dropping system, the armor mode change. Let's get those monsters off, they are annoying me. This is now in place. The thing that really changed is I've moved to the create a new armor type. Well, more like base armor. In normal Z Doom, GZ Doom, whatever you call it, the armor you actually have is the basic armor. It's always basic armor, and the item tells you everything about what it does, how much it prevents damage, etc. I needed to edit the formula for that item, so I had to recreate it from scratch. Well, actually, there's inheritance and such, but I'm not going to bore you with technicalities. Thing is, all the armors right now are using a new item, which has some consequences, negative consequences, and that's visible on Rebel. With the current implementation of status bars, I'm not able to display the armor icon right now. It's possible generally, but making it work right now would be just a hack solution, and I'd rather have rework this status bars at some later point, including these features instead of hacking it. The other place where the armors are not working fine is the status bars of the vehicle status bars, where armor is the shields are drawn as a status bar. But that's all, honestly, the all negatives I have seen so far. There might be, including both armor system and the spawner system, some problems in Strife. While I did an extensive test for most of the characters and most IWADs, I didn't really test on Strife. There's one more new feature. It's a minor one for Zasha. It's going to be a simple status effect visibility. Let me just give myself the spell, and I don't have any keys bound to changing spells right now, so let's just get anything so we can swap. Monster that's affected by Soul Trap, it now has a purple overlay, more of a trail. I want to have it only a trail when they are moving. However, due to the method that the monsters move, they don't actually have any speed. They just they are more like teleported, moved by a certain amount of no, not ticks, but units. So I have to keep it visible at all times. It's just a small quality of life. You can now see who's affected and who's not. Generally this system will be reworked, but it's just a first step towards that. About new features, that's going to be it. There are still some changes and we'll move to fixes at a later point. For the changes, this is visible for all characters. Money is no longer visible on the status bar. There's actually no point for it to be visible there, since, well, actually I just thought of one reason. No, there's actually no point for it to be visible there, since you have it visible in the vendor UI. And if you wanted to give money to your allies, you can just use the drop money part. And I'm going to have an inventory screen, like a full inventory player status screen for every character, and it's going to be present there. Furthermore, Arachnotrons have a higher spawn chance from 33% around to 50%, reducing the chances for all other monsters like siege tanks. I've noticed that the Arachnotrons were spawning way too rarely. Going on with the Cacodemons spawner. Cacodemons are spawning slightly less often, and the Corruption Cacos spawn a bit more often. A big change that's a bit of a nerf to all the characters is that Megaspheres no longer drop from the boss level monsters. It actually made it way too easy, especially since I've removed the caps for both health and armor from what Megasphere gives you. Going on with a related change, since no Megasphere spawn, Rebel was a bit weakened by that, so all bosses now drop a single status boost. So after 10 bosses you gain actually the full power, the 200 health and the increased accuracy and damage from melee attacks. Okay, environmental suits can now be purchased in stores, and both Nova and Marine can use them. Of course, Rebel can use them as well. This is not, I don't have any specifics, but I've rewired a bit the leveled lists for hexen items and generally spawners. I've did a bit more of a along the work with the new random spawner systems. I've moved to let me just get to any map so I can do something while I'm running around and talking. Yeah, for example, the blue mana weapons are moved to the chain gun level items, so it's a bit easier and earlier you can find an item for when you're playing a cleric, for instance. It used to be for normal Doom 2, that's no problem. You get the rocket launcher in a secret on the first level, but it's not so much as fun as again the Windows key. Let me 1 second. Yeah. Furthermore, Ranger had his vampiric arrows buffed. The cost of a single shot is no longer 50 mana, but only 25 mana. This, in addition to the reduced cost, however, I did reduce the strength of the missiles, the arrows, and as such they are far weaker now, around roughly half the strength. This makes the weapon makes it a weapon actually, because I used to, when I was playing the class, I simply swapped to the vampiric arrows, used it to heal up, and then moved to something else. And now, with reduced cost and increased reduced both cost and reduced effectiveness, it should be used a bit more often. And no longer as much, you will no longer be as much gated in the first levels when you were fortunate enough to get vampiric arrows early, only having 100 mana and just using 2 of them and hoping that both of them connect and heal you those precious few hit points. Yes, Crusaders, the robotic enemies from Strife, no longer have their ice state. This should, in addition to being a thematic change, should also fix an potential crash that I've been experiencing while rarely when the Crusader was performing one of his attacks, and he's frozen solid, and I think it's shattered in the same tick, or at least close by. It does cause crash, at least in GZ Doom 3.5.0, which I'm using for development, and it's in a related matter. Officially, the minimum version that this mod supports is 3.5.0. Incidentally. Okay. Furthermore, what is this? Oh, Zasha's arrows are a bit slower now, having a speed value from 55 to 45. It's still fast. That's actually still pretty fast. It's simply the reduction improved the collision detection in favor of the player. The arrows no longer collide so easily when used in tight spaces, especially using it towards with the vertical aim. Okay, and the vendor, I've increased the amount of I've increased the amount of souls available, the soul gems for Zasha. And the last but not least, the plasma guy and marksman zombies have had their souls elevated into lesser version instead of the petty version. Those are all the changes, and there's also a few fixes. All items that are present in Heretic that are also available in the store, in the vendor, are now have limits of 25 pieces. It's mostly because when you played Heretic and had the 16 limit, the store expected you to have the limit of 25, which actually made purchases still possible, but you paid the price and gained nothing back, which is actually never fun, losing stuff like that. Going on, yeah, there was a bug that I've introduced the last version. The chain gun was not spawning for Hexen classes. No items were spawning. It was the perpetual loop of items that were simply deciding what should we spawn. Okay, potions and soul prices were generally broken, extremely broken for Zasha, and I simply mismatched the values to items. The soul prices were for potions, some potion prices were for wrong potions, and some potion prices were for actual items, the souls. Yes, soul tier was fixed. It no longer reduces the monster count by 1 if the resurrection is blocked. This was a simple fix, honestly. I was thinking that it's going to be an extremely difficult, but nope, it was easy. And going on, there was also a potential issue that I fixed with the soul tier. If you'd use the soul tier on a monster, he rose to life and he was killed by someone before the soul tier duration expired, and subsequently was revived by an Argvile or some other monster effects that simply raise the monster permanently. The monster will be killed anyway when the soul tier duration would actually expire. Okay, that's Rune adepts and apprentices can now be resurrected by Soldier. They were missing a few states that made it not working. And there were two more fixes for Vendor, and both well, one of them related to Zasha. It was the case that that some items were available way too early, and they were available earlier than they should. By earlier, I mean by levels. Yeah, that's it for that. And the last change was that if you had the store with also a list of full page of 17 items, generally the single page contains 17 items. If that page was full and it was entire category, it skipped the next category while in vendor. It was a serious issue, but it's now fixed. And generally, this is going to be it for the patch notes. That's not that much new in this version. It just took me a long time to tell you all of them. In short, I've been using the Z script to rework those systems and add new effects. Generally, expect far more new candy effects like the Soul Trap effect. I'm going to plan, for example, to have the from Rangers immolating arrows, the burn effect to move out from the poison system that it uses, the default Doom poison, into an actual status effect that gives a VFX, like, I don't know, flames going out from the monster. Also moving out, the same thing, moving out with poison effects, so we can see that someone is poisoned. And also I will be reworking more systems, moving away from ACS system to Z script, which has a good effect for the players, that a change in Z script will still make the game usually compatible with the older save games, but any change in ACS causes the saves to be no longer valid. So yes, this is it for the patch notes. I still plan to get those reworks for Zasha. There's a lot of code there, and frankly I don't want to tackle this. I know I have to, but I don't want to. And similar with the Monster Master, I think with the Z script I've started using, I should be able to get a lot of those functionalities easier done and actually have it more fun for the player. Anyway, like I said, this is it for the patch note video, and if you have any questions, just use a comment or use the link in the description below to the mod topic on ZDoom forums, and you can just ask me anything. If you have any ideas, I might implement some of them. It wouldn't be the first time that I implemented some ideas. But for now, like I said, this is it, and thank you guys for watching, and see you guys next episode. Well, actually, not the next episode. Other series are currently on hold, and just the first habit. Anyways, see you guys next time. Bye bye.